In this video, we are going to find the missing and repeated values in an array. Hello, I am Jagan from growwithdata. I am posting this video to share my knowledge in Python language with you. If this assists you in interview preparation anyways, I will be happy. Let's see the sample input data and we can talk about the question in detail. So the given input list is grid, which has a list within a list. So our intention is to find the integer which got repeated twice and then the missing integer from this list. So if you have the grid with list within the list, first thing we can do is we can just make it as a normalized list. Let's see like this. For this grid, we can just say print length of grid and then the grid and then the grid. Okay, same way if you want to normalize this, we can just say I for j in grid for I in j. So we are just going in loop and we can print the value and see how it goes. So first on the input list, when you take the length, it just take 1 and 3 as one element, 2 and 2 as one element, right? So to find the actual length of the list, first you have to keep the list normalized. So we have 1, 3, 2 and 2. So if you want to sort and check, so you say 1, 2, 2 and 3. So we are supposed to have 4 elements. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So instead of 1, 2, 3 and 4, we have 2 got repeated and 4 is missing. So our output has to be what is the repeated value, which is 2, and what is the missing one, which is 4. So the output has to be like 2 and 4. Okay, so this is what we have to do. So let's see how to do that. Let's take this as our input value. As usual, let's start with the function. growwithdata, grid is the input value. First, we can sort the grid. How we did that? It's here. So we say yes, sorted this. We can see how this works. Okay, print grid. When you call the function, oops, growwithdata. Okay, so if the list is like this, it will be normalized and it will show us 1, 2, 2 and 3. We are going to use this for our program. Okay, first we have to find which is the repeated one, then we can go for which is the missing one. Okay, to find the repeated one, we just have a set where we can say save all the integers in the list. Okay, and then repeated equal to, you can say none or you can just say 0, whichever is easy. Okay, because the list starts from 1, so you can just say 0 or any negative numbers. Missing is also say 0. Okay, now we go for a loop for I in range. You can start with 1 because the first value is going to be 1, right? Length of the list, since we start with 1, we can just plus 1 to make sure we go till the end. So the actual value, if the range is I in range 1 this, oh sorry, for, okay, so if the I is starting with 1, what is the actual value from the list? It can be 1 or something else also, right? So equal to grid of I minus 1. The minus 1 is because you start from 1 and the grid is a 0 indexed one, right? So start with 0. So we always put I minus 1. So we get the value from the list, whether it's going to be 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it is. The actual value will be from the input list. We just say if actual in seen, right? We can just pass for now. If it's not, then we just add that integer to the set. Okay, so we loop in the range and then find the grid value, and then we see if that value is seen in the set. If not, we just go. If exists, then what we do is repeated equal to actual, right? So if the value exists in the set, that means it's already been added, then that is the repeated value, and we just put that into a repeated variable, and we return the repeated ones. Let's see which one is repeated. So the 2 is repeated. So this is a straightforward one. So how will we find which one is missing? So we have seen the loop and we check if it's there in the set. If it's there, that means the duplicate 1. So next point is if not I in grid, right? So this one will start with 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? So if 1 comes, we just check if that is in the input list. 1 is in the input list, yes. 2 is in the input list, yes. 3, yes. When it comes 4, it's not there, and the loop starts with 4. So we just say if that value is not in the grid, so that is the missing value. So we just say repeated and missing value. So 4 is the missing value. If you have another value, let's try some other sample. You can say this as a grid. Okay, here let's print the value and see how the actual value goes, and we run it. So the whole list has been normalized, and then we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So 9 got repeated and 5 is missing. So when you run this code, you got 9 is a repeated one, 5 is the missing one. So what happens? It first normalizes the list, and then it takes the range from I equal to 1 to the length plus 1. So it starts from all the 1, and then we find what is the actual value, and the actual value is added to the set and it's coming again. That means that's the repeated one. If that actual range is not in the grid, that means this is the missing one. It's so simple, right? But the problem is we are doing a sorted here. If the list is like 10 power 5 or 10 power 6 as an integer, the sorting is going to take the whole memory. So the time complexity is going to be n log n, the worst case, right? So if you skip that sorted, that means the time complexity can be reduced to O of n. So let's see if there is a way to use the same input list without sorting, okay? And so we can reduce the time complexity. So the value, we can start with this 1, 3, 2 and 2, okay? So without sorting, how can we do the missing part or the repeated part first, which is the easier one, right? Def growwithdata grid. We are not going to sort this out. We just do the set property and then just go for a loop for list in grid. So whatever the grid comes, right? So it just takes the uh, inside list, right, the sub list. So we just say another loop for num in that list, and then as usual how we did the previous one, if num in scene, if it's in the set, then repeated equal to the num, and then we just see scene dot add the num. So we just say return repeated. Since we are not using the repeated elsewhere, I think it's okay to not to declare it, right? So the repeated one is 2, right? So here we are not sorting it, we just take the grid as such and then you're looping it. So the list becomes 1 and 3 for the first one, the second iteration 2 and 2. So 1 and 3 comes for the list, so num becomes 1, I will check in the scene no, and then it check in 2 and 2 no, the repeated part works for the second 2. So we are not sorting it, it works fine. So how can we do this for missing part? So here we are not directly doing it, we are going to do a formula which is the to calculate the missing number. Okay, so let's go and refresh our school math. Okay, so we have given a sequence of number, so 1 2 3 4 and 5, so the sum is 15. So what is the formula to find the sequence of numbers, the sum of the sequence of numbers? It's nothing but sum equal to n into n plus 1 by 2. So this is the formula. So n is the number of elements in the list. So if you say the grid equal to this as a list, n equal to the length of the grid. Okay, sum is n into n plus 1 by 2. So you do the formula is 15, right? N is 5 plus 1 is 6, 6 into 5 30, 30 by 2 is 15. So if you have 1 2 3 4, then it's 10. 4 into 5 by 2, which is 20 by 2, it's 10. So 4 plus 3 is 7, 8 9 and 10, right? So the formula works. So we are going to use that in our program. So here we have the set. Now we are going to have the repeated equal to 0, and here what we are going to do is we are going to calculate the actual sum. So here every element we are adding to the set, right? Here we just say actual sum plus equal to number. What you are doing is we just say actual sum equal to 0. So every time when you get the integer from the list, it just adds to the actual sum, which is going to be the sum of all the elements including the repeated ones, but we are going to miss the actual number which is supposed to be there, like a 4 is missing. Okay, so how will you find it? So we have the actual sum, but if we have 4 elements in it, 1 2 3 and 4, right? So if we have 4 elements in it, what should be the expected sum? If there are 4, that means 1 2 3 and 4 is equal to n into n plus 1 by 2, right? There is the expected sum. So first thing is we have to find the n. N, what we can do? We can just do this part without sorting. We can just do the loop and find the n. Or what we can do is, again we say n equal to 0, and every time it loops in, we just say n plus equal to 1, right? So this will get the number of elements coming in. So the expected part is the expected sum equal to n into n plus 1 by 2. So the missing number should be, we are expecting what? If it's 4 digit, that's be 5, right? So 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 10. So that's what expected. So the expected sum, and what we have with the duplicates is the actual sum, and we have a duplicate here. So 4 is missing, but 2 is already there, right? So we add that missing, oh, it's not repeated, it's missing, right? No, sorry, repeated, sorry. Yeah. So the repeated is here. So what you are expecting is, if it's 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? So 1, 2, 3 and 4, what you are expecting is 10. That is the formula, expected sum. But the actual sum is, we are counting 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 and 2. Instead of 4 we have 2, right? So we are adding 2 and we are subtracting the actual sum, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2. So this is what the missing value is. So we have repeated and we have the missing part of it. So 4 is the missing one. So instead of sorting it and then you find in the grid, we can just use the numerical calculation and we can figure it out. For our practice purpose, we can have few more data here. We can see it pass everything, right? That's great. So we have from 1 to 9, we have the duplicate as 9 here, and the 5 is missing, which we saw, and the same for other two cases. Hope you like this video. Thanks for watching.